Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how you can determine the mode using R, or specifically RStudio. This video will be excluding the case where you want the mode for a binned frequency table, which is using actually frequency density, so I'll need to create another video for that. Just to show you which packages are loaded in my RStudio by default. I don't think I've ever changed this, so these should be your basic packages that should be pre-installed. Now for the example to get my data that I'll be using as an example. Now as you might notice, I actually manipulated this data. There's one variable called unimodel, which will actually only have one mode. Bimodel if a situation where there are two. One that shouldn't have any, and then the same for scale variables. Now as you might notice, these are actually factors with each with 5 levels. Now to get the unimodel case, what we can do is we should first remove any missing value, so we can use NA omit, and then to find the mode we can use a simple inspection by creating a frequency table, and since the mode is the category or categories with the highest frequency, we can see that brand B should be here the mode. Now there is no built-in function in R to determine the mode, but what we can use is which.max, and if I load that one in, then indeed it will simply select the maximum, which was brand B. It now shows a 2, but that's because brand B was the second level. Then for a scale variable we can do actually the exact same thing, so first omit the missing values if any. In my case there aren't any, but just in case. Show you the table. In this case I have the number 2 appearing twice, the number 3 appearing even 3 times, so 3 should be the mode, and which max actually nicely shows that. The third one was indeed the mode, and it had a frequency of 3. Now in the case of multi-model this goes wrong. So for example, my third variable, actually the second one in the data set, but the bimodel one, I'll show you the table, and as you can see both brand A and brand D have a frequency of 3, so they should both be the mode. None of the other ones have a higher frequency, and some of them have, all of the others have lower. So both A and brand D should be the mode. But if we do a which max, it actually only returns brand A. So that's not helpful. So we need to do a little bit of work here. First I'm going to convert the data of the variable into a table, and I can actually show you that table. So that's just then all the variables nicely stored as one table. Oops, that should be 3 of course. So now it shows me the frequency table. Then what I want is to store the unique values, and you can actually use names for that. Some people actually use a function called unique, but that might actually give you a different order of these labels. So names is actually preferred. So if I use names, and then you can see that that will only have an array of just those names. Then we want to find the maximum, and luckily there is a max, so of the table itself. And as you can see, I've stored it under max frequency, and the maximum frequency is indeed 3. Then we need to figure out in which index that is, so which my table, and then should be equal to the maximum frequency. And I'll store those in the indexes or indices on max int, and it's both brand A and brand D. That's exactly what we wanted, which is the first and the fourth position. We can also just only show brand A and brand D by using then my labels again, and then just display those maximum indices and call that the modes. So now we have both brand A and brand D as being the mode. All of the above we can do in one longer go, and that should make life easier, and as you can see that gives the same result. We can do the exact same thing for a scale variable. So here's one scale variable, put it in a table first, And as you can see in this table, it's the number 1 that has a frequency of 3 and the number 3. None of the others have a higher one, and all of the others are lower, so 1 and 3 should be the mode. And if I use the same method as above, I nicely get 1 and 3 being the mode. Now there's another situation where there is actually no mode. All of the other above methods will not work. So if I use my data 5 for that and use the no mode variable, then as you can see, all of them have the same frequency, and most authors will now argue that there is no mode. Some might even argue that all of them are the mode, but in my experience, most will actually say that it's none of them. So if we would use a which max, it actually only shows the first one. If we use the technique we just done above, we actually get first to convert it to a table, and then use the modes, the long manipulation there, then again also this one shows all of them. And what we want is no. So the only way to avoid this is by using an if statement. So if the length of my names, of my labels, is the same as the length of my number of modes, then it should actually show no mode. And otherwise just print all the modes. And if we add this to the mix, then it should actually nicely work and reports that there is no mode now. We can do the same for a scale variable, so skipping all the in-between steps, just loading the data in, convert it to a table, then determine the modes, and then use that if statement to actually get it all in there, and again there's no mode. Just to show you, this would be my table 6, and just to show you the results, as you can see here, indeed everything has a frequency of 2, so there is no mode. On Stack Overflow, I saw a user named with this weird name. He created a nice function. He's actually using the unique version. If I load this function in and run it on my data, as you can see, it actually seems to work. I can use the same for my data 5 and my data Control Enter and my data 6. However, this one does not seem to work for the cases where there is no mode. So Giovanni, he actually created a nice function. It's available on his website or his blog, which looks like this. And this actually does it all the way we want to. If there is only one mode, for a scale variable, if there's only one mode, for the buy model, and then we have for the buy model in case there is a scale variable, and then if there is no mode, it should return, in his case it's using NA. You can change the function slightly if you want to in order to do that up here, to change this into whatever it is you want to show if there is no mode. Okay, I think that's about it. I hope this video was helpful. Please subscribe because that seems to really help out a lot.